Welcome to Your Town. I'm Chef Wendy Brodie, Art of Food, and I'm the culinary host, and my guest today is culinary related. He is an architect, very well known in our area and all around. Robert Carver, Studio Carver. Welcome. And I just love some of the kitchens that I've been in that I found out you've redesigned or built the home, and it's just a treat to have you.
Oh, thank you.
I know you're also a volunteer firefighter, and you've got your own home in Big Sur, and we know that situation intimately in this area. And so I was so glad to hear when we've talked before that you were able to save your beautiful home. That I think it was a metal home, wasn't it?
Yes, it's clad in aluminum, and we had to put foam on it to save it from the fire. The fire came actually right up to the house, and we made a fire break, me and two friends, and were able to save it just barely.
But with your training, that has not only helped you, I'm sure, with your own home, but...
yeah, we were able to save the neighbors' homes, too.
Oh, fabulous. Yeah. Fabulous.
That was quite a day.
I can... If you had to describe your style of home that's your favorite to create, how would you describe it?
Well, I wouldn't say that we have a particular style. It's more a combination of the client's needs and their sites. So we've been very lucky working in this area. There's so many spectacular places. Yes. And so that's really what I find exciting, is trying to do the appropriate design for a particular area. And you know, the Monterey Peninsula, it has all these sort of micro areas. A Carmel Valley house is probably going to be completely different from a Carmel house, which is completely different from a Big Sur house, which is completely different from a Pebble Beach house. So every area sort of has suggestions as to the design, and we really try to just pay particular attention to the sites.
Being a past user of well, I won't say I've gotten to use that many architects, but there were a couple locally that it was their home you were lucky enough to live in, and they had their style and their way, which I found really challenging being a chef, because something like rough-cut redwood for kitchen cabinets really isn't conducive to a lot of cooking or spills
or wiping it down.
Or wiping
you get all the fuzz sticks to the wood. It's kind of funny.
So I really appreciate that sensitivity to where it's a wonderful give and take between the profession and their creativity as an artist and what you envision and your needs. So
I mean, some people don't want to cook,
yeah,
right? But they maybe want a fancy kitchen that they'll never
and
use.
And would hire people
right,
like me.
There you go. And other people love to cook, and it's a passion. So it's interesting. I mean, every client is different. Every kitchen is different. You have to balance the space available, and then hopefully have fun.
Now, over the years, like restaurants have created the open kitchen. The kitchen isn't another square room set aside that everybody still ends up in the guests. What have you found are sort of the trends as you've been associated with building and designing?
Well, one of the questions that comes up often is, where do you place the stove? Where do you place the cooktop? Do you place it against the wall, which has the advantage that then you can have your hood against the wall, or do you want to put it on your island if you have space for an island? Then you have to deal with either downdraft, which is not that efficient, or they have some pretty interesting hoods nowadays where the hood is somewhat sculptural. It has places to either hang pots and pans or put plants on, like a shelf. Like the hood is much wider than it needs to be. They incorporate lights up in the hood. So, that's the sort of a question that comes up. We've done it both ways. It really depends on what the client wants. If you have a view, you might not want to have your cooktop on the island because the hood might obscure the view. It just so happens that the height of the hood, ideal height of the hood, is right about eye level. So you can fake it a little bit, put the hood a little bit higher to improve the view, but you might sacrifice a little bit of bacon smell in the house. No big deal.
And what about things like family room in connection with do you find if you're starting from scratch, where does one ideally like to put the kitchen? For me, it's where is the kitchen going to be in the house gets built around.
It's the center, social center of the house, certainly, and takes the place of the hearth in the old days, I think. People tend to always gather in the kitchen. I really like to have a kitchen table. I think I grew up with a table in our kitchen back in New York in an old house that was built in the 1890s. And I had 3 brothers, so it was an active place for sure. And I prefer that to a countertop where you have stools and a counter. A lot of times, if your space is limited, that's all you can do. So I think that's, I don't really like trends. I know there are trends, but we, strive to be timeless with our designs, and so we're a little, hesitant to embrace trends. But there are some amazing new materials that come out that are exciting, and I don't think they're necessarily going to be trendy. They may date your kitchen if it just came out and you put it in your kitchen, but if it functions well and it looks great, it's timeless.
Oh, I totally agree. What are some of the new materials out there? Let's start with countertops, maybe.
Well, certainly there's a wide variety of composite materials, like the quartzite composites, like Caesar stone. They keep coming out with more colors. I really like the matte. Now they have matte finishes, so they don't look plastic, and they're 98% stone anyway, and then they're in a plastic resin. But they have some great colors. The finishes are much better now, I think, with the matte. That's a very versatile kind of a countertop. We've had some fun where we mix the countertops materials. So we mix the heights. We vary the heights of the countertops and workspaces, and we can have a wood countertop next to a stone countertop. I wouldn't recommend tile countertops. I did that in my house once, and we have since torn that out, and I put in a soapstone countertop, which is beautiful. And it took years because you have to oil it, right? It just soaks up the oil, but after a few years, it's basically impervious to anything.
So oil rings and all of, you just have to keep oiling the whole surface.
You just keep oiling it. It just disappears. The oil disappears. But I have a green soapstone, and it's just wonderful. I love it. And it is soft. I mean, if you're opening a wine bottle, and if you let the bottom turn, you know how they have those little nubs on the bottom? That'll actually scratch it. But it's so soft that then after a while, it just smooths out, or you know,
Gets kind
it
of
just
distressed.
gets
looking.
worn. Yeah, and I like that. Some people couldn't stand to have a spot or a scratch or anything, but to me, it just builds up this the beautiful patina, really. That's real, and it doesn't look dirty. It doesn't look scratched, really. So that's kind of a fun material that is soft and yet it works really well. I'm very happy with it. So there's some great butcher blocks. You know, there are walnut butcher blocks, which are pretty cool. We've done those recently in a job we did in the Highlands.
Wow.
And you know, end grain wood is very hard. Some people will still use a chopping block on top of that, a cutting board on top of that, but you don't need to. I mean, it's kind of fun. You know, you see these old wooden islands, and they've been chopped on for so many years that they sort of get a little dish, you know, built into them. That's kind of fun.
Yeah,
you know?
it is. Yeah.
So.
What about backsplashes? Is that something that has any difference in
We
what people do?
often take the same material of the countertop up the backsplash and take it all the way up to the bottom of the cabinet, and then we like to take the upper cabinet all the way to the ceiling, if that's, you know, within
I
reach.
like that look.
Is it you know, if you have your cabinet just a foot from the ceiling or something, it's not usable space, and it's just a dust collector. So we like to just either soften the ceiling down or take the cabinet all the way up. Often you can have another cabinet where you may have to get on a little ladder to get something, but it's the platters that you use at
yeah.
Thanksgiving or something.
Exactly. What of flooring? What are good floors for kitchens nowadays? Or if you love, let's say, a wood floor, what can you do to make it better?
I have a wood floor, and I
Yeah.
just put I found a really nice runner that I put down, and it works fine. I mean, I'm perfectly happy with that. Just wood, maybe that's, you know, it tends to show things, you know, you spill things and stuff, so you just have to keep cleaning it, I guess. But I think it's better than the stone floor in a kitchen, unless if you have radiant heat, then I can accept stone. But without that, I don't really like to stand on such a hard surface. So a runner on a wood floor, you know, you can take it and shake it out. Mm-hmm. You know, that's nice. I would never do wall to wall carpet, but you know, a runner is easy. So I like wood.
That would be challenging.
Yeah, wall to wall in general, I don't like. But
Have you ever done concrete counters and floor stains?
We have a concrete counter at our office that marks concrete over in I think they're in Moss Landing. They did that. It's beautiful, and they are making some laminates and things now that mimic the same look. Oh. So that's kind of fun, and some porcelains also. They're making some porcelain. That's sort of a new countertop material. So I like concrete. Again, it's depending on the sealer to control the porosity of it, because tends to be stainable. So and I found that actually milk seems to sort of etch it a little bit. So
interesting.
You know, but we have it at our office, and we've had it there for 5 or 6 years with a lot of use, and it's held up really well.
Now, getting to the heart of the matter, which may not be your total expertise, but what are people or clients requesting for equipment in the kitchen? Are steamers?
Warming drawers. A lot of people
yeah.
like warming drawers. You know,
I'm one.
You can warm your towels and your children and everything in there.
I never thought of the towels.
Babies.
That's good.
Yeah, warm towels. We actually sometimes put warming drawers in the bathroom for the towels.
Oh.
You know, in colder areas. It's kind of nice, you know.
Wow, I like
I like appliance garages, so it's maybe with a tambour door or something. You can have all your appliances plugged in, your microwave and your coffee maker and your toaster and everything, and you can close it so you don't have to look at the clutter, and you can open it up and use them inside this appliance garage. So that's something that we do a lot. I don't know what else.
Well, like I noticed since I've been in one particular kitchen for a long time, but when I go to other people's homes, like microwaves will be a
In the
drawer,
drawer. Yep.
possibly,
That's
or
good.
Microwaves are now in combination with other types of ovens.
Or convection ovens and things like that.
Convection.
Hands-free faucets are nice because your hands are full of vegetables or something that you want to clean. You just put it underneath like a lavatory. That's fun. They also have foot-operated ones like the old surgical faucets. They've improved that. I like the drawers for the refrigerator and freezer under counter.
Yeah.
Those are
okay.
great. European appliances, if you don't have a lot of room, you can get a much smaller appliances to fit in an apartment, say, where you would just have maybe a 30-inch oven, which is what I have at home, and you can actually fit an American turkey in there. Not the biggest, but it works just fine. So it doesn't have to be 48 inches or commercial, really. It's amazing.
One of the things that I found just wonderful was an instant hot water.
Right. And filtered. You can get it filtered instant.
Wow.
Right.
I didn't know about the
Yep.
filtered.
Yep.
Something that
They have refrigerators that will generate your shopping list for you.
Who does those?
I think Samsung does that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And if you put those in?
Nobody really needs that. But at least yet.
Oh, goodness. One of the things that sounds like a really good idea, not that it isn't, but of course I put in one time the spout
The filler,
above the
right? Pot filler.
pot filler.
Right.
For me, that was an accident waiting to happen. I can't tell you how many times that I got called away and then it overflooded.
Okay.
Thing. So
you need
that
a
needs an
timer.
alarm on there.
Okay.
That's all.
Alarm.
It just needs an alarm.
Oh. Yeah, we've put some of those in. Other than leaving it on, you find it's okay?
Yes.
It's handy, right?
Yes, it
yeah.
is, especially for the big pots. I can't thank you enough. I wish we had pictures of all your wonderful places that you've done. And
Well, I may send some in to be
Okay.
edited into the show.
that would be fabulous because you are so talented.
Wow.
And it's just a pleasure to have been in some of your kitchens.
Well, thank you very much,
you.
Wendy.
Thanks. I hope I can talk you back in again sometime.
Sure.